Let me tell you something straight. You are not meant to beg for love, attention, or respect. When someone stops valuing you, it's not a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of their inability to recognize it. Let's get into 12 powerful steps you need to take when someone doesn't value you anymore. First of all, your worth is not determined by someone else's inability to appreciate you. You were created with purpose, talent, and uniqueness that no one else can replicate. If someone can't see the beauty in what you bring to the table, it doesn't mean you don't shine. It means they're blind to it. The first step is recognizing that their opinion does not define you. Start by listing out what makes you valuable. Maybe it's your kindness, your loyalty, your intelligence, or your drive. Whatever it is, own it. Stop waiting for someone else to validate what is already within you. You're already complete. Someone else's inability to see it doesn't make you less. When people treat you like you're replaceable, remind yourself that you are irreplaceable in the right environment. The wrong people won't see it because they're not meant to be part of your journey. Let that sink in. Instead of asking, why don't they see my value? Ask yourself, why do I need them to see it? That's the game changer. When you start to detach from needing external approval, you find freedom in knowing you're enough. The truth is that not everyone can appreciate greatness. Some people are so focused on their insecurities and shortcomings that they can't recognize value in others. That's their problem, not yours. It's important to protect your self-esteem. Let no one, absolutely no one, convince you that you are not enough. Your value is not tied to their perception. It's tied to your belief in yourself. Stand tall in that knowledge. Recognizing your value is about taking control of the narrative. No one gets to tell your story but you. Stop waiting for them to notice and start walking in your power. You are valuable simply because you exist. Chasing after people who no longer value is like running on a treadmill that exhausts you but takes you nowhere. Stop trying to convince someone to stay in your life when they've already checked out emotionally. If you're the only one putting in effort, it's not a relationship, it's a one-sided performance. When you chase, you send a message that their presence is more important than your peace. Let that sink in. By chasing, you lower your standards, and that's not the energy you should be giving off. You deserve mutual effort, not crumbs. Pause for a moment and ask yourself, why are you chasing? Is it because you fear being alone? Is it because you think you can't find better? Both answers are rooted in fear, not truth. The truth is, there's peace in letting go of what no longer serves you. Chasing also puts you in a position of desperation. Desperation is not attractive. It's not empowering. It's a signal to others that you don't value yourself enough to walk away. Don't let anyone make you feel like you have to beg for their attention. The right people will never make you chase. They'll match your energy. They'll value you the way you deserve to be valued. When someone stops appreciating you, it's a sign that their role in your life is done. Don't fight to keep them around. Understand this: walking away doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care about yourself enough to stop running after people who don't see your worth. Walking away isn't a weakness, it's a strength. When you stop chasing, you open the door for the right people to enter. The ones who see you, appreciate you, and pour into you the same way you pour into them. That's the life you deserve, and you'll never get it by running after people who've already let go. Boundaries are not walls to keep people out. They're fences to protect your peace and your value. When someone stops valuing you, that's the perfect time to set boundaries. Boundaries teach others how to treat you, and they teach you how to respect yourself. Start by defining what you will and will not tolerate. Write it down if you need to. Be crystal clear about what is acceptable in your life. When you allow disrespect, you teach others that it's okay to devalue you. That stops now. Boundaries don't need explanations. You don't owe anyone a justification for choosing peace over chaos. When you set a boundary, you're saying, I love myself enough to protect my energy. That's power. Setting boundaries can feel uncomfortable at first, especially if you've been a people pleaser. But discomfort is a small price to pay for reclaiming your self-worth. Push through the awkwardness and stay firm. It's not just about setting boundaries, it's about enforcing them. The moment someone crosses a line you've drawn, call it out. If they refuse to respect it, that's your cue to distance yourself. Boundaries without consequences are just empty words. Don't let guilt creep in when you start setting boundaries. You're not being selfish, you're being self-respecting. Remember, people who truly value you will respect your boundaries without question. Boundaries are not just about others, they're about you too. Honor the limits you set for yourself. Stop overextending, over-apologizing, and over-explaining. When you respect your boundaries, others will follow suit. One of the most powerful things you can do when someone stops valuing you is to create some space. Distance isn't about punishing them, it's about protecting your heart and energy. It's a sign that you're choosing yourself over a relationship that's draining you. When you pull back, you force them to face the reality of what's happening. It's a clear signal that you're not available for disrespect or neglect. But here's the thing, distance isn't just physical, it's emotional too. You need to create some space in your heart and mind. Stop overthinking them and refocus that energy on what truly matters you. Distance allows you the time and space to reflect on the situation. It gives you clarity about the relationship and whether or not it's worth fighting for. The truth often becomes clear when you step back. You'll be able to see things for what they truly are without the emotional fog clouding your judgment. Most importantly, distance allows healing to begin. When you're in the thick of a relationship that isn't valuing you, you can't heal. But the moment you create space, you allow yourself to regain your strength and reclaim your peace. The moment you distance yourself, don't expect immediate change from the other person. This isn't about manipulating someone into valuing you again. It's about restoring balance in your life. If they truly care, they'll notice your absence and make an effort to correct the situation. If not, you've saved yourself from further hurt. This distance doesn't mean you've given up on them. It means you've given up on their toxic behavior. It's not about cutting them off with malice, but cutting off the negative impact they have on your life. You're not abandoning them. You're choosing yourself. Distance gives you a chance to reconnect with yourself. You can rediscover your own identity and passions that might have been overshadowed while you were caught up in the dysfunction of a one-sided relationship. And that's the true victory. When someone doesn't value you, it's easy to get caught up in the drama and the emotional toll they take on you. But let me tell you something, you're better than that. Instead of focusing on what they're doing or not doing, turn your attention to you. Focus on becoming the best version of yourself. Think about what you've been neglecting. Have you put your personal goals on hold because you were too focused on someone else's needs? Have you been dimming your lights to make them comfortable? Now is the time to reclaim your energy. Work on your health, your skills, your career, your mindset. When you put your energy into growth, you become so much more attractive, not just to others, but to yourself. The more you work on becoming the best version of yourself, the less you'll care about people who don't see your worth. Personal growth is the best revenge. Embrace the discomfort that comes with growth. Growth isn't easy. It requires sacrifice, hard work, and consistency. But here's the truth. Growth is the ultimate indicator of your strength. You're showing yourself that even in adversity, you rise. Every time you push yourself to improve, you send a message to the world that you are not defined by someone else's opinion of you. You're not waiting for validation from them anymore. You are your source of validation. The more you focus on becoming better, the less you'll tolerate negativity or mistreatment. You'll start to attract people who align with your elevated energy, and those who don't will naturally fall away. Let them fall. As you focus on growth, You'll realize that your happiness and success aren't tied to anyone else. You're building a life for yourself, one that doesn't depend on someone else's recognition. You're becoming unshakable. Settling is one of the most dangerous things you can do to yourself. When you start accepting the bare minimum, when you accept disrespect or neglect, you are telling yourself that you aren't worthy of more. And let me tell you something, you are worthy of everything good this world has to offer. When someone stops valuing you, they're telling you that they're not worth your time, energy, or love. Don't let that be the message you send to yourself. Refuse to settle for relationships, friendships, or situations that drain you. Settling is about staying in your comfort zone, even if it means sacrificing your happiness. But growth, success, and fulfillment all come from stepping outside of your comfort zone. Refusing to settle means you're willing to embrace discomfort in the short term for long-term gain. Here's a little secret. The moment you stop settling is the moment you begin to demand respect, loyalty, and genuine love. The moment you refuse to accept less than you deserve, you start attracting more of what you're worthy of. When you settle, you are telling the universe that you don't believe you deserve better. But when you refuse to settle, you send the message that you're prepared for greatness. You are ready to receive everything you've been working for. Don't let fear of being alone or fear of change make you settle for something that doesn't serve you. You're not just settling for a bad relationship, you're settling for mediocrity in all aspects of your life. That's not the life you were meant for. The more you refuse to settle, the more you set standards for how you want to be treated. You teach others how to treat you by the way you treat yourself. So stand firm, demand more, expect more, and receive more. Forgiveness isn't for the other person, it's for you. Holding on to resentment only keeps you tied to the past. And the past has no power over you unless you permit it. Forgiveness frees you from the burden of anger and disappointment, but forgiveness doesn't mean you have to forget what happened. Forgiving someone who no longer values you allows you to release that emotional weight. You stop carrying around bitterness and you free yourself to move on. You stop letting them control your emotions and thoughts. But don't confuse forgiveness with allowing them back into your life. Just because you forgive doesn't mean you should reopen the door to someone who has repeatedly shown you that they don't value you. Forgiveness is about freeing yourself, not about inviting the same toxicity back. Forgiveness gives you peace, and peace is priceless. It allows you to move forward undistracted by negative energy. When you forgive, you're showing yourself that you're not going to let anyone take up space in your heart with pain and bitterness. Understand this, forgiving someone doesn't make them right. It just means you're letting go of the grip they have on your life. It means you're choosing to move forward, and that's a sign of strength. You can forgive and still protect yourself. You don't need to put yourself in a position to be hurt again. Forgiveness isn't about being weak. It's about being strong enough to release what no longer serves you. By forgiving but not forgetting, you create a space for healing and growth. You allow yourself to learn from the experience and build a stronger, wiser version of yourself. You'll never forget the lesson, but you'll be empowered by the strength to move on. One of the most critical steps when someone no longer values you is recognizing your worth. Too often we let others define how we see ourselves. But when you've been through enough hurt, disappointment, betrayal, you start to realize that your worth doesn't depend on how someone else sees you. It depends on how you see yourself. When someone no longer values you, it's easy to fall into the trap of questioning your worth. You might start doubting your qualities, your potential, and your value as a person. But don't let anyone have that kind of power over you. You have something inside of you that's priceless, and it doesn't fade because someone else can't see it. You are not defined by someone else's inability to appreciate you. No one can take away your inherent value unless you let them. When you know your worth, you stop accepting scraps. You stop allowing people to treat you in ways that are beneath your standard. Your worth is not up for negotiation. It's non-negotiable. The moment you internalize this, you stop allowing people to walk all over you. You demand respect because you know that you are worth it. This isn't arrogance. This is self-respect. Knowing your worth means setting boundaries and standing by them. It means saying no when something or someone doesn't align with the sex you know you deserve. It's about understanding that you are enough, just as you are. When you truly know your worth, you stop begging for attention, affection, or validation from anyone. You don't need someone else's approval to feel good about yourself. You are already whole and complete. Your worth is something that can never be taken away from you. It is yours to own, to claim, and to celebrate. The more you embrace and believe in your worth, the more the world will respond in kind. They won't be able to help but notice the confidence and power you carry. Sometimes when someone doesn't value you, you get so caught up in trying to change them, trying to make them see your worth. You start thinking if you just do this or say that, they'll finally understand. But the truth is, you can't control others. You can't force someone to value you, and you can't change their feelings or behavior. The sooner you accept this, the sooner you can let go of the unnecessary stress and frustration of trying to control things that are beyond your influence. You can only control your actions and reactions. What you can control is how you respond to the situation. Letting go isn't about giving up. It's about releasing the need to have things go your way. It's about accepting that you can't force people to treat you the way you deserve. And that's okay. You don't need anyone's validation to prove your worth. When you stop trying to control the uncontrollable, you start freeing up energy for things that matter. You stop giving your time and attention to someone who isn't valuing you, and you direct that energy into areas that are going to elevate you. Letting go also means letting go of the need to explain yourself. You don't have to justify your decisions, your emotions, or your actions to anyone who doesn't care. You know what's best for you, and that's all that matters. The power of letting go lies in your ability to move on without regret, anger, or frustration. You don't have to carry the weight of someone else's lack of appreciation. It's not your job to change them. It's your job to protect your peace and move forward. When you let go, you create space for better things to come into your life. You're not holding on to dead weight anymore. Instead, you're opening the door for opportunities, relationships, and blessings that are aligned with your true value. When someone no longer values you, it can feel like the world is falling apart. You might wonder why things turned out the way they did, or why you're being treated this way. But let me remind you of something important. Everything happens for a reason. Trust the process even when it doesn't make sense. Sometimes rejection or neglect isn't a reflection of your worth. It's a redirection. Life has a way of aligning things when you're not looking. It might seem painful now, but down the road you'll understand that this was necessary for your growth. Trusting the process means understanding that things won't always go the way you plan, but they'll always go the way they're supposed to. You might not see the bigger picture right now, but trust that the universe is working in your favor, even when it doesn't feel like it. This isn't to say that you should just sit back and wait for things to get better. No, you still have to work on yourself, focus on your growth, and take action. But trusting the process means knowing that every experience, whether good or bad, is shaping you into the person you're meant to become. If you're in a place of discomfort, I want you to remember that discomfort is where growth happens. Trust the struggle. Trust the pain. It's a part of your journey. Without the tough moments, you wouldn't appreciate the good ones. When you trust the process, you release control and stop trying to force things to happen. You let go of the need to have everything figured out. You trust that what's meant for you will find its way to you, and what's not will fall away. Trusting the process is an act of faith. It's saying, I believe that something better is coming. I'm ready for it. It's staying grounded, staying focused, and staying open to the future, even when the present is challenging. When someone no longer values you, one of the best things you can do is surround yourself with people who do. The energy of the people you're around has a direct impact on your emotional well-being. If you're surrounded by negativity or people who don't appreciate you, it's time to make a change. Find people who lift you, who remind you of your worth, and who encourage your growth. These are the people who will help you navigate the tough times and who will celebrate your victories with you. When you have a strong support system, you don't have to face the storm alone. Being around people who value you helps remind you of who you are. When someone else doesn't see your worth, it's easy to forget it yourself. But your circle, your true supporters, will always reflect to you the greatness that lies within you. Your support system will encourage you to keep pushing forward. When you're feeling low or questioning yourself, they'll help you find your strength again. They'll hold you accountable and remind you of the dreams and goals that you're working towards. Don't be afraid to lean on your support system. It's not a sign of weakness to ask for help or seek comfort from those who care about you. It's a sign of strength to recognize that you don't have to do it all on your own. The more you surround yourself with positivity, the more you'll naturally align with people who bring out the best in you. You won't have to fight for your worth or beg for love. The right people will show up and remind you of your value. Invest in your relationships with people who make you feel good about yourself. These are the people who will help you rise higher, who will challenge you to become the best version of yourself, and who will remind you that you deserve everything good that comes your way. When someone stops valuing you, it's easy to feel stuck in pain and disappointment. But the only way to heal is to move forward. You cannot heal if you're constantly looking back, wishing things were different. You have to pick yourself up and keep moving forward with confidence. Moving forward isn't always easy. There will be days when you'll feel like giving up, but you can't. Keep going. Keep working on yourself. Keep building your life. The moment you take a step forward, you're telling the universe that you're ready for what's next. As you move forward, remember this: your past doesn't define you. The mistakes, the hurts, the heartbreak, they're all part of the story, but they don't determine your future. Your future is what you make it, and you have the power to create the life you want. Confidence comes from taking action. The more you take steps toward your goals, the more confident you become. The more you believe in yourself, the more others will believe in you too. When you move forward with confidence, you stop looking for validation from others. You stop waiting for permission to be great. You take the reins of your life and start living it on your terms. Confidence isn't about being perfect. It's about being okay with who you are, flaws and all. It's about knowing that no one else's opinion matters more than your own. As you move forward with confidence, you will begin to see how much stronger you become. The person who used to depend on validation will be gone, replaced by someone who stands tall and proud of who they are. And let me tell you something, that person will be unstoppable. You see, when someone no longer values you, it's not the end of your story, it's just the beginning of a new chapter. It's an opportunity to reclaim your power, rebuild your life, and step into a version of yourself that you never knew was possible. Life doesn't stop because someone else stops seeing your worth. You keep moving forward, you keep growing, and you keep thriving. The key is to remember that your value is intrinsic. No one can take that from you. The love and respect you deserve begin with you. When you stop seeking validation from those who can't see your greatness, you open up space for the people, opportunities, and blessings that truly align with who you are. So know your worth, set your boundaries, trust the process, and surround yourself with the right people. Understand that when someone doesn't value you, it's not a reflection of who you are, it's a reflection of where they are. And that's not your burden to carry. Now, stand up, brush yourself off, and keep moving. There's so much greatness waiting for you on the other side. And when you look back, you'll see that this moment of being undervalued was the catalyst for the life you were always meant to live.